What's up, guys? This is the Vinyl Casket. I'm Nick. This is the home to the lamest taste. Thank you again for tuning into another Wednesday. Well, it's not Wednesday, but weekly comic book reviews that I pick up on Wednesdays. Okay, so if you could do me a favor, and please, if you're on Twitch, if you're watching this live or in the VODs, subscribe and follow. On YouTube after the fact, if you're watching this, if you could please subscribe, like, and comment. Appreciate everything. Follow my Instagram at Vinyl Comics. And with that, open up the dashboard. Okay. Open the Twitch dashboard. And we got a stack. So I've been cutting back slowly, carefully, but I'm pretty sure that in the next couple weeks, months, I'm going to be cutting back a lot from DC. DC is the one company that's really pulled me in, roped me in, especially with the Batman stuff. But you know, with Superman, the Teen Titans, with all this stuff, all these events going on, and I realized it's just not, you know. I tried out the Aquaman stuff. I'm probably going to try to keep doing Aquaman and Black Manta, Deathstroke. I'm going to give it another issue because this, you know, you'll see what I feel about it in here. But I'm trying to make a lot of cuts just because it's just unrealistic to have this many titles, especially like 15 Batman titles. This is what I did with Marvel. And we'll get right into it. And then I'll talk, maybe in another stream, we'll talk about what directions I'm going to be heading. We'll start with the independent stuff. We're going to start with Image Comics. We have issue 2 of Primordial. So if you don't know, this is a Jeff Lemire book. It is this weird, like, very weird art style that flashes back and forth between like painted and super realism and all sorts of stuff. This issue, you get a lot of information and visuals about the dog that was sent into space, I think by the Russians, and this scientist that was, or a computer expert or whatever, that was sent to do some kind of thing to take down NASA. He's supposed to dismantle NASA. He discovered something about the monkeys and that like they still exist or something, and then he's brought to like another country to work with these guys because the dog still exists, and we don't really know a lot of what's going on in the book. But it's definitely trippy. It's definitely weird. You definitely get a lot of information without feeling like you got a lot of information. This is out of 10. I do a grading scale out of 10. This is easily going to be a solid 8. A little bit more dialogue would have been nice, but here's what it is. All right, Boom Studios. If you watch my channel, normally, you know, I don't really get a lot of Boom Studio stuff. And this is to highlight something that will be coming in the future, right? I have the, what was it called? Something's Killing the Children. I have the first big hardcover volume coming, I think next month. It's on pre-order. It's been on pre-order for a while. But this is issue 1 of House of Slaughter. So I had, oh, you can't really see this. So this is the variant cover. This is like the foil cover. So it's really reflective, but for some reason the light isn't catching it. Oh, there we go. So it's like a reflective foil cover. I have the Free Comic Book Day House of Slaughter one shot. So I got this, and I absolutely loved it. Without really knowing too much about the whole universe of Something's Killing the Children, I can't wait to get into that and collect it through hardcover versions. My plan is, with a bunch of series, is to collect the deluxe versions. Series that I wanted to get into, that I tried to get into, that I couldn't financially, you know, at the time, you know, just too much on the plate, just have another thing that I didn't really know that much into, or to get into it in the middle of the series. I'm going to start collecting those. So I might do the same thing with Something's Killing the Children and Once in Future. Might be one that I do. But yeah, this was an awesome first issue for this spin-off series. I'm really excited to see what direction this goes and how the two series coexist. I'm going to give this another 8 out of 10. Now, into Marvel, we have a couple Marvel books this week. So the last couple weeks, we haven't had a lot of Marvel books. This week, we have some Marvel books. We're going to start off with issue 2 of Inferno. Standard cover, Emma Frost, Diamond here. So more revelation of Moira McTaggart, the stuff that's going on. Destiny is alive. We find out how Destiny was brought back. We find out the whole thing that Mystique went to do it and the people she bribed and how she basically rigged the vote to get her on the council. And now McTaggart is upset. She's been living in secret because we find out in House and Powers of X. If I didn't mention this in this review, there's going to be like mild spoilers. Nothing too big for the current issues, but I'll definitely talk about passings that have happened over the past couple years, months, whatever. But House and Powers of X happened. We find out that Moira McTaggart, this geneticist that has been working with the X-Men for decades, turns out to be a mutant whose power is reincarnation. She's lived all these different lives. Everyone thought she was dead. She's been doing this with Magneto and Professor X. It has made the whole Krakoa thing happen. She is scared by Destiny being able to see the future and all possibilities of an event. And this causes a lot of tension. So they basically bring Emma in, Emma Frost in, and shows, hey, McTaggart's been behind this whole thing. We want you in on our circle. We trust you. And she responds completely opposite of what they expected, loses it, and is completely against them. So that really tips, like, I don't know where this is going. There are sides building. Something is going to happen. There's going to be a big revelation at the end of this series, this miniseries. And they introduced that Colossus is now the newest member of the Quiet Council, which is like the main council that controls the laws and distribution of the island nation of Krakoa, where all the mutants now live. Really interesting, really good art. A lot of interesting stuff is happening in this mini maxi series. I think it's like 6 issues. Very excited to see where they go from here and how this is going to affect all the X titles. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. If you don't know, I dropped most of the X titles involving the island. I have the main X-Men title, which is not even part of Krakoa anymore. And I do New Mutants. I dropped Wolverine, X Factor ended, Wave X ended, dropped X Corps, dropped X Force, dropped Wolverine, Cable ended. Trying to think. I dropped. I'm reading Marauders, so I'm reading Marauders, New Mutants, and X-Men. I dropped Hellions, and I think that's it. Boy, with that being said, issue 25 of Marauders is another A cover. Really cool. Again, issue all about Emma Frost and her whole crew. Continues into issue 24, how they were in space and they got shot out of an airlock, and Iceman uses his powers. It was really cool. The teamwork and the distribution and use of everyone's individual powers to make this come up and take back the ship and settle everything. Really cool 2-issue story. I'm so excited for a storyline, for a small little storyline to only last 2 issues. It started 1 issue, it ended the next. That's all I want. I would like progression. I want tons and tons of stories throughout the year. I don't want 1 year with 1 story. It's just whatever. I'm gonna give this a solid 6.5. I'm gonna give it a 6.5 out of 10. Awesome artwork. Okay, Moon Knight issue 4. We're on issue 4 now. Tigra on the cover. We get the introduction of Tigra in this book. Awesome. She references their relationship and their friendship during West Coast Avengers back in the mid-90s. I love that. I think that's awesome. It is my favorite series from the 90s. Really amazing art. Really interesting story that I don't want to spoil because it's kind of like a one-shot thing that leads into other stuff that's going to be coming. But artwork was incredible. Character development here is spot on. Dialogue is really good. I really enjoy this title. It is one of my favorites from Marvel besides Spider-Man. Easily a great pickup if you want to get into it. It is only 4 issues into the series. This is a solid 7.5 out of 10. And then issue 77 of The Amazing Spider-Man ASM. As you should know by now, the current main Spider-Man as of now is Ben Reilly, Peter Parker's clone. Peter Parker is in the hospital with radiation poisoning and having a really hard time battling through that. You get to see Ben Reilly training. You get to see this whole business model that the Beyond Corporation is setting up that's kind of not okay. I'm not really fond of it. I can't wait to see if Ben can get out of that. But yeah, it sets up the next, the next storyline and progression here. Very excited to get to see what's going on with Peter in the hospital. Really cool. I'm very excited. You get to see his therapy session, which is a really cool thing that I like to see, that Ben Reilly is going through therapy. Awesome issue, 7 out of 10. Very excited about this new creative team on Spider-Man. And then we're into DC. And the first thing we're going to look at is something that I was highly anticipating. But it looks like it's a letdown, personally, for me. This is issue 1 out of 12 of DC vs. Vampires. Cover, okay. Variants, didn't like any of them. Did I think this was going to fuel that hole left by Deceased? The zombie title that they had 2 or 3 series for? I hoped so. You get to meet this interesting vampire character. You get to hear about his journey and where he went and how he got to the Hall of Justice, and then how these vampire things are gonna happen, and this ex-girlfriend who's like the queen of vampires is gonna cause like a big problem. And he's talking to Green Lantern and one of the Wonder Twins, and then Green Lantern turns out to be evil. Hal Jordan, main Green Lantern, kills the vampire, kills the Wonder Twin, and then Aquaman's like, hey, Bruce needs you. And then at the Batcave, apparently this vampire had gone there prior and had left a note for Bruce. So there's like some kind of revelation, and they're like, oh, where's Ollie, Green Arrow? We haven't seen him in a couple days. I don't know. It didn't do anything for me. It didn't check a single thing off the checklist for me. Artwork, bland. They redded out a lot of panels to add some kind of vampire blood mood to it. That didn't do it for me. That's kind of washed it out. Dialogue was boring. Story concept was boring. Lack of detail, lack of emphasis, lack of character development. I didn't care about this character. I didn't care about any of the characters in this book. The Batman thing at the end was kind of okay, but like it really didn't do anything for me. And I'm gonna give it a 2 out of 10. And I'm probably gonna drop it. I don't think I'm gonna get issue 2. And that's saying a lot because it is written by James Tynion, who I do enjoy his Batman run. I just don't think that this is for me. And I'm a huge fan of vampires. Hopefully this, becomes a really good... I can't waste 12 issues on something that I don't think is good. So 2 out of 10. Drop. You'll hear it now. I don't think I'm going to get the second issue. With that going in, we have some exciting things. So we have... this is middle of the road. We have this is Wonder Girl issue 4. Issue 4 of Wonder Girl. Awesome cardstock cover. I think this is my first variant besides Something's Killing the Children. Awesome. Okay. So we're finally making some progress in this story again, but the way they went about it was awful. They give her a conflict and then they just solve it without any real resolution, without any real development or growth or anything. Nothing really happened. She has all these problems and she's like, oh, my attitude. And then all the problems are gone. I didn't like that. She's training with the gods, whatever. Cool. Artwork was like middle ground. Like points were really cool. Points were like okay, but like kind of lean to the kind of cool. She goes back to Earth to talk to the guy that she ditched. Then the guy just disappears, and she's talking to Artemis and Cassie Sandmark, which I can't remember her name. She's the real Wonder Girl, like the Wonder Girl I know of. Like this is now the third Wonder Girl, I guess. But they're all talking, and they come out of nowhere, like they know what's going on, and they yell at her, and then they walk away. And Cassie never is like, hey, I am related to Zeus. I know all this god shit. You shouldn't do this. No, nothing. Artemis just yells at her, threatens her, and that's it. And then she goes to drink the thing, I think, to be like the servant of Hera. I think the whole Greek and godly mythology stuff is cool. Don't get me wrong. I got Zeus tattooed on me. I have working a whole sleeve of mythological stuff. But they did that with the other Wonder Girl, who's literally related. They do, though, explain her mother and the whole third tribe of Amazons in Brazil. So that's cool. I did like that. That was interesting. But they've done the God thing. You know, they even pushed the God thing into Young Justice. It's okay. I'm going to give it a 5.5. It could have been better. Another issue like this, and it's getting dropped. It is on the teetering list. An issue that I'm uncertain about how I fully feel, but I do like it, and there's only 4 more issues, so I'm probably just going to stick it out, is issue 2 of Aquaman The Becoming. You find out why these guards are trying to arrest Aqualad, and the whole background. You get some info on his mom. You get to see Mara be a badass. Artwork was pretty good. Nothing tremendous, nothing incredible, but it was pretty good. I did enjoy this. I do expect more, though. I think that this should be better. And maybe it will be. Maybe the 3rd issue is going to blow it out of the water. If it doesn't, I'm going to have a hard time picking up the rest of the next 3 issues. But if it does, I'm going to be a huge fan. I know this is leading into something called Aquaman. I'm not sure what they're going to do with that, but this is pretty interesting. I don't want to really explain what's going on. I'm assuming this is going to tie in somehow to Black Manta. But I'm going to give this, if I haven't graded it already, I'm going to give it a 7. I'm going to give it, 6.5. 6.5, bordering on a 7. Okay, another Aquaman title. This is Deep Target. This is a team-up book between Aquaman and Green Arrow. Wasn't going to get it. Got it. Don't think I'm going to continue. What do I say about this? Awesome cardstock cover. Really like that. Definitely not what I expected, but not what I want. Basically feels like that episode of the Flash and Arrow TV show where they wake up being each other. Ollie is now the Flash, and Barry is Green Arrow, but they look identical to what they did previously. Same thing happens here. The premise of the scientists using machines and shutting down satellites to bring dinosaurs to the current age and then killing them and then becoming like this lizard creature. That's cool. I'll pick up the 2nd issue, and if it isn't what I'm expecting, then I'm gonna drop it. Like I said, I gotta really work on cutting down my DC titles. I'm gonna give this a 6. I'll give it a 7. The artwork is really cool, and it was interesting. I did like it. I'm just fighting it for some reason. Issue 2 of Deathstroke Inc. Cardstock cover. A issue I thought I was gonna be. Nope, this is awful because the first one was like kind of iffy. Didn't think I was gonna get the 2nd issue. I said I'll give it one more issue. I'll give it one more shot. I really liked this standalone issue. I like the standalone story. I like the 3 characters in this. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was awesome. I hope that they continue to do this. The next issue has a unicorn on the cover. I don't know if I'm going to keep it. This issue, though, great. Issue 1, awful. This is a 7.5 out of 10. Almost an 8. Awesome story. You got Cyborg Superman. Really cool. Very excited about this issue. Really enjoyed it. Hopefully the next issue is good. Otherwise, it's getting a drop. Like I said, DC books are not getting the slide on me anymore. They are not getting a pass. They have to be good or they're gone. I don't even care if you have 2 issues left in a miniseries. I will drop. So we have issue 1 of Task Force Z. So this is another Batman-related book. Unfortunately, something I'm not afraid. The next 2 books after this are all Batman-related. Cardstock cover, like this. Issue 1, cool premise. How long is it going to go? How long do I think it's going to last? I don't know. I'm not sure. But I did dig the first issue. Basically, they're using Lazarus Pit resin to bring back these dead villains. And then they need the resin to stay alive. So they have to do what Red Hood says, who's like their handler. Interesting concept. Interesting team. Arkham Knight, Man-Bat, who died after the Man-Bat Limited series. I love that Man-Bat series because he was finally in control of Man-Bat, and then they kill him off in like a side story, and then now he's just a zombie, which is really annoying because they did a lot of character development to do nothing with him. And Bane, who died in Joker War. With all that being said, do that on the dashboard. Awesome issue. I have a lot of concerns going forward. But we'll see. We'll see. Good issue. Good first issue. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. I know I'm probably sounding very like negative. That's just because I have to force myself at this point with these books. I've been letting things get too high grades. Letting things slide past that should have gotten cut off way sooner. I don't want to read shitty books. Okay. Issue 1044 of Detective Comics. Awesome cardstock cover. This is a good story. Backup story. Interesting. Cool art. Did it do it for me? Not really. Not going to talk about it. Main story. He's in the sewers. Batman's in the sewers trying to find the mayor who's trapped in like the secondary sewers underneath, like 12 feet underneath Gotham or some crazy stuff. And finds this nest of vile creatures. The parasite that created Vile is underneath the city. So how did Vile get there? Are we going to get some background story on that? Further than that, how did it even get there? Who created it? What is it? Really, really interesting stuff going on here. I really like the dynamic here and how Batwoman had to fight these guys that tried to take over Town Hall. That was really cool. And this power dynamic that because of Fear State, this rogue splinter group of like crooks try to take over. And then like the magistrate doesn't really know what they're doing. I like this. This is really tying into Fear State. Not fully, but just enough that like a nice side story that I'm enjoying. I'm going to give this a 7.5 out of 10. I've really enjoyed Detective from the jump. And last book of the week is my pick of the week. Without a doubt, it is issue 7 of Robin with this fantastic cardstock cover of Ra's al Ghul, the demon. Huge, huge, huge thing happens in this book. So if you don't know, Robin, Damian Wayne, the actual son of Batman, the newest Robin, is on this island that's being run. So the League of Assassins is an organization started and ran by his grandfather, now currently by his mother. But there's two splinter groups that have left the League of Assassins, the League of Shadows and the League of Lazarus. The League of Shadows is somehow using a time displaced, because of the whole Infinite Frontier thing, Connor Hawke, the son of Green Arrow, to fight in this tournament. Deathstroke's daughter's fighting in this tournament. This kid Respawn that is dressed like Deathstroke is in this tournament. And Deathstroke's daughter wants to know who the heck he is. You have this girl Flatline. All sorts of really cool characters fighting. We get up to the final four, and we get the last two big battles. That was really interesting. I really liked it. The whole revelation of who this lady, Lazarus or whatever it is, who she really is, and what relationship she has to Damian. Very interesting. I'm very excited to see this come to a fruition. This is an easy 8 out of 10. Great book. Great series so far. Amazing cardstock covers. I loved it. And that is my books for the week. So, yeah, it's going to be rough for DC for a little bit. I did the same thing with Marvel when I cut the X-Men books out. Marvel, I'm just reading the Spider-Man stuff. I am reading Moon Knight. I am reading Darkhawk. I am reading those 3 X-Men books, and Trials of Magneto and Inferno, and that's really it. I'm gonna hop on to Devil's Reign, so I'm gonna have to find the last couple issues of Daredevil to see this last event that goes into Devil's Reign, and then maybe a tie-in or two. I'm doing Death of Doctor Strange also. But that's it. Those are just events that will end. And I'm really enjoying the indies that are coming out. So that's all I got right now. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. This has been the Vinyl Casket. I am Nick. This is the home to the lamest taste. You can follow and subscribe here on Twitch at Vinyl Casket. The Vinyl Casket on YouTube. Subscribe, like, comment, share it with your friends, and follow on Instagram at Vinyl Casket and Vinyl Casket Comics. Remember to stay lame, and thank you guys.